Okay, hello everybody. Thank you for taking the time today to join this presentation webinar of Data Wizard 1. This is going to be one of a series. Originally, I thought I would do 3, but it may be more. This is going to be a high-level introduction, just show a few quick things to do, create like a typical legend, and do a quick Excel just to show you guys that export thing. So Data Wizard, it's part of the SIM project suite of tools. It's intended for everyday users that are creating design production drawings. It'll work all the way back to version 2019 Civil 3D. And if you have our products already, we just launched an update on Monday. So hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at that. Okay, so why Data Wizard? You can see right there, it's in the middle of the project suite toolbar. Well, middle end. And what does it do? Well, it automates the creating of tables and legends. I don't know about you, but in the past, how I've done it, you've got a block, you copy it around, you edit it, you fix it, kind of clumsy. You might have more in there than you need. So this is just more than legends and tables. This will also create quantity takeoffs and do some tabulations for you. And it's fully customizable to do many things. It's a pretty powerful tool. I think if you use it, you'll find some ways to use it for other things. So like I said, it does quantity takeoffs, and we can export to an Excel, which can then be put into tabulation tables, like I said, for quantities, for all kinds of different things. And we can save a lot of time with templates. Instead of copying blocks, we save a template. And with that template, we can load it. And if things are done on a typical basis, they should be ready to go. If they're not, a few quick adjustments, and you should be on your way. So with that, let's jump into Civil 3D and see what we have here. So here's a kind of a typical existing survey site right here. So we've got some storm up here, got some trees are shot, the existing building right here, concrete, some grassy areas. And we're going to put those in a legend, and we're going to do it specific to the layout. You can do it in model space too. Quite frankly, I might do it that way and viewport it in, and we'll create one there too. So we'll show you. But let's just jump into the layout here. Site plan 1 we have. Now I've already created one of these legends and dropped it in here. And that's ultimately what we want it to look like right there. So this is specific to this layout. It's got trees, it's got catch basin right here along the top right here. I don't know where my piping is. I should have that in there. Let me see if I can unthaw that. Well, they didn't show up. That's okay. Okay, so we have our legend. This is where we want to go. So it's in part of the project suite up here, right here. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go to setup table. And this is gonna remember what was done the last time in the drawing. So I was in here before and I limited to the site plan. So that's checked on. If you had a template, you would go here and grab it and load it. We'll do that in a little bit here. It can include XREFs and additional drawings. So if you have an XREF right in your drawing, it'll pick up those things too. And if you have additional drawings out here that you wanna create a legend in, you can include those too. We're not gonna do either of those today because we don't have those, but we will cover that in another webinar. So now this right here are layouts. So we have the 2 layouts right here. If you had 10 of them, they would all be listed here. And within those layouts are the viewports that are going to be specific to legend, what it finds. And these names are unique. So you're going to want to probably, in every case, get rid of that and grab this one here. It comes from AutoCAD handles. So that's how it recognizes what to do and makes it smart. So that's page 1. We'll move on to page 2 here. Here's some of the selections of things that we can include in our legend table, whatever. So right now you can see there's quantities. I've already selected that ahead of time. So, and right here you can check them all, or you can check none. If I hit refresh right here, we're going to see there's some polylines, but we don't need those in our legend, not the one we're making today. Anyway, we don't need feature lines. That's got nothing. We're going to leave the hatches. I'm just going to click these off. It doesn't hurt to leave them on. They got 0. If they have 0 over here, it's not going to do anything. There's not going to be a blank column. It's just going to ignore it. Oh, I should note too that in the, earlier editions, if you've used this before, parcels and parcel segments were not supported. Those have now been added. I believe that was 2 versions ago, maybe with the 23 version. So if you have anything, if you want to do those, you might find that easier than maybe doing it natively. You can do these all at once. And the beauty of it, you can save. So let's move on to the next page. Let me back up here and just do a quick refresh. Make sure you'll see this goes to 0 now, where it was 6. It's going to hang on to them because I ran it and it knows they're there, but it's not going to do anything with them. So that's gone. Oh, I should get into these filter components up here too. So this is something else. We've added these 3 right here. In most cases, you're probably going to want to combine like items, and that's going to weed things out. So if I take this off, this is the filter, if you have multiple. So we've got multiple trees in here. Let me get that out of it real quick and go back. So we have multiple trees in there, multiple definitions for our catch basins, but we only want one to show up in our legend. So if I'm going to watch up here, what happens? You're going to see that. So 0 filtered items, it already knows that. Well, I'm going to hit the refresh. So we're going to get all of them. We don't really want that, so I'm going to put them back in there. Oh, I don't have it clicked. That's why nothing happened. Let's see that again. Okay, so 7, let me show you again. Take that out of there again. Okay, you saw that, you see that number jumped up right there. So it would actually put all that number in there. We for sure don't want that. So I'll put that back on there. And now it came back down to 7. Okay. Let's move on. Oh, let me go back to this again, explain this a little bit better. This right here, like I said, in most cases, if it's all the same, you won't need to do any filtering. It will take them right out of there. And I'll show you that a little further down the line here. So we go to the next page here. This is where we select what data we want to extract. So we come in here and we can say, right now we're just getting graphics and layer descriptions. So we could get the raw, we can get the full, we can get additional data, custom descriptions. I think that's a handy one. We're going to cover that today. But any of these things, you can have it extract. For this particular one, it doesn't have any of this other stuff here, so I'm not even going to pick them. But if you did, you would see that nothing populates. Let me just say okay right here. So it added these right here. So let's open these up. So here's what we're getting. So because we did the filtering, all these TRDs, 12s, they're just going to be treated as one. So there's all kinds of different size trees in here. When they surveyed them, they actually shot the size of the trees and the description keys and everything, bring them in and give them a size. So they're all different, but we only need the one symbol for that. And the sign. And here's where I like the custom descriptions right here. So this right here, this is the layer description called tree symbol. Well, we know it's a tree symbol, but we might just, in the legend, we might just want to say tree. And we'll add that in a little bit here. And maybe this is a specific sign. Maybe they shot handicap signs or speed limit signs. And in that case, maybe you want more than that in there. I happen to know that on this site, these handicap are right here. They were shot as handicap signs. So we'll just change that as we move along here. So we got our survey figures. We're going to get our line work right here. And then we're going to see the hatching for the grassy area and the concrete. I'll only back up here. Because we told it to not include frozen, to exclude them, let me just hit that real quick and show you what happens. So now this building has hatch. It's just frozen in this viewport. So you can see things jump there. We come up here and you're going to see, now you're going to see hatch for building right there. And all these survey points that are frozen. So they're all there. Okay, they live in the drawing, but not in that viewport. So we don't want all that. So that's what the frozen part of it is for. So it's gonna know, you saw those jump? It's gonna know, because it's smart, to pull those out of there and not include them. So now we're back to something a little more reasonable here. Okay, so let's go to additional. Let me cover this real quick too. Again, we don't have any, but if we did, for instance, there is a point there somewhere with the different directions on there on one of the storm, probably your sanitary point that came in, point nodes, blocks that came in with the survey. So if you want to include any of that, you could. And if you had descriptions, attributes in blocks, names, descriptions, in another webinar, we'll cover that. And if you've seen any of our other ones, that's pretty well discussed as well. So here we have some custom descriptions that have been entered in along with the layer description. and they pretty much all match. But let's if the guys went out and shot and we knew it was a different curb and gutter, like maybe a B624, so we can change that right here. And we can add to these too. I'm not going to right now. We'll come back. I just want to show you that real quick and then we'll come back. So we can jump back and forth and load and unload these things very quickly. So let's go to the next one. So this is where everything is going to show up for your legend. So it will show up in this order here. If you wanted to sort it, you could. That's right here. You can change the order of these. You can also drag them. So if I take and move this down to here, so now it's going to come in this order. And we'll see that a little bit. In fact, yeah, we'll just leave it like that. Because ultimately, like I said, we want it to look like that other. So here's where you adjust the size of your box. And this, typically this takes a little bit of playing around with. You know what, I'm going to click all these on too, just to show you what they do. So this is going to group things and you're going to get headers, and we'll see that in a second here. But this, you're going to have to play with, and once you get it set and you save it to a template down here, save, and it will go out to where we said. When you bring it in, it's going to adjust all that. I'm also going to change this right here. We probably want it all capital, but I just want to show you what happens right here, and then we'll change it again. So with that, we can just load it in. We're finished. We can create this legend. You know, I'm going to stick it over here. It's going to be pretty big. Okay, so here's what I was talking about with all that stuff clicked on. So we're getting the objects, we're getting the raw descriptions. It's separating these out by the topics what we selected in that one. And we sure don't want it to look like that. We want it to look like this. So even, you know, end product, it's going to look like this. And we'll step through that here in a second. So let me go back to Data Wizard. I'm going to leave that table there right now so we can see our progress on this, I guess. So let's click through this. We don't need to change anything else. It remembered everything we did. And everything is basically there. But this time we don't want the raw description. We don't want that. We're going to go with just the custom description. So I'm gonna leave that one of these. I'm gonna leave that layer description right now, just so I know what I want to write in there. Okay. So additional data. There's no additional data, so we don't need that one. So we're gonna say okay. So now these are the columns that we're gonna get. Okay. So we want this to be deciduous tree. Deciduous. Oh, I spelled that right. Doesn't have spell check, unfortunately. So let's change this. Like we said, it's a handicap sign. Kind of important if you're doing an Alta, they want to know. And like I said, creatively, if you're using blocks to do your parking spaces, then you can count those up too. So you will know, you'll get a count. So like I said, there's creative ways of doing this. So instead of just calling it concrete, we want to call it existing concrete. And instead of grass, we want to denote it as pervious surfaces. So we've entered all that, and now it matches. I'm going to take layer descriptions off. So we're going to get custom descriptions, our graphics. Unfortunately, you don't get a peek at that until we finish, but it's so quick and easy that if something isn't right, you can change it and just rerun it. Oops, I forgot to change that. So let me just erase that guy out of there. Let me just erase it. And these are just regular AutoCAD tables from the annotation. And let me show you that real quick here too, since we got to redo it anyway. Okay, let's just step right through this. Next. So right here, I didn't mention this. This is where you decide what table, and you will have these set up in your drawing more likely than not. I would hope you would, that you're not using standard, you've made some. So we've got one for model space and one for paper space. It's just a size thing, how they come in. And you can play with it up here too a little bit. You know what, let's add to this too. Let's call it existing conditions. Oops. Okay, let's take all this off. We don't want that. And our data sorting, let's just slide this guy. So we want it to be the survey points, and we want it to be the figures and the hatches last. Oops. So we'll switch those two, and I'll say finish. And there, looks pretty much like that one. Pretty much the same. We gave it a little better header there, but you might be wondering, well, this is all differently justified. We can't do that in Data Wizard, but it's an AutoCAD table, so it's easy enough just to, if that's how you want to do it, just to change them. And unfortunately, oh, I left that line on. That's okay. When you rerun it, it's going to lose that justification. That's reading right from your AutoCAD table. If you've seen some of our other videos on it, oops, it's coming from here. So this is, however this is set up, that's what it's picking. So if you had that set the other way, then you'd have to move those. It maybe you want them centered. I don't know. So that's pretty much our finished product right there. Let me get that off of there. So now that we've got it there, it's going to remember all of our settings. So we can just jump to the next drawing here. And it's going to look a little bit different. Here the pipes do show up. So we're going to get the pipes. And we've got deciduous and coniferous trees in here too. So we should get an extra tree symbol. If all goes right, we should get an extra tree symbol, and I shouldn't have to really do anything other than just run Data Wizard again. So let's go here. Now I'm going to have to change my layout to this, and I'm going to deselect that. Yeah, you wouldn't have to, you could overwrite it, but just to be on the safe side, we'll do like that. We'll say next. What was that line I was getting? I didn't like that. Not sure where that was coming from exactly. So let's see if we got our extra tree. Uh-oh. See what we got here now? Because we didn't weed that out. We only want one. So we're going to get all of these will come in our legend, but we don't want those. So how to get rid of them? Two ways. We can go back. We can go back to the filter, and we can add it here to filter it out. I showed you that, so I'm not going to show you that, but there's another way. If you had a whole bunch of them, you could, I mean, if this list was super long, then filtering would be advantageous. But for this, I can just deselect them. So if I just deselect these guys, and now you see we're going to get that other tree, the deciduous and the conifer right here. And all other things should be the same. Oops, we should give this steam storm. And our hatching, again, there are no hatches in this one, in this view. Nothing is hatched, so we won't get any. I'm gonna leave it though, because like I said, it doesn't affect anything. So let's change this to all uppercase this time. So it should fit right there where we have it on the other drawing. Layouts are the same, and it did, it added it. So very easy to do. Oops, I didn't get my descriptions for those. So you know what? Right now, okay, we're by the drawing paper space, it's 1-to-1. So these symbols match, but maybe we don't care so much about that, especially with the trees. Maybe we want them a little bigger. So let's go back to Data Wizard and fix that. Go next, next. I don't know why what happened to my custom descriptions. That should have held. So we'll call it again. Deciduous, that's a tough word. Okay. Okay. So we're getting the storm, everything still there. I don't know why that dropped off. That shouldn't have happened. Should have held on to that. Easy enough. Storm manhole. Storm. Okay. Looks like it's good to go. So right here, the symbols, now they're coming in at 1-to-1. Maybe we want them just a little bigger. Let's make that 1.5. Let's see what happens. Can't get that out of the way. So let's just say finish. I'll leave that one there. Just dump it in right here. See the little difference there. Okay. So our custom descriptions are there now. And now these symbols are a little bigger. So they show up a little better. See, they're a little bigger. Put that back there. So let's say that's final. Justify those to the left, just because that's how I like it. And just like that, we've done 2 legends for 2 drawings, and we can save those out and reuse those. So we didn't have to do anything to it. It picked up these extra trees, the storm line, everything right there. Easy enough. Pretty handy, I think. So let's go through and save that. Now that we've got it how we want it. Actually, we don't. I want to show you one other thing here. Let me close that and jump back into model space right here. So something maybe got missed here. We've got hydrants in our point group, our point events, whatever, that aren't in the drawing. So I'm going to insert those into the drawing. This is what I was talking about with the combined. So they're all the same. Everything's the same about them. So because we selected the combine, whoops, I got to go back to my layout tab. Sorry. Let me switch back. I'll go back to this site. I'll do this one first. But because we did the combine, we don't have to do a filter for it, I guess, is what I was getting at there. So as we go through this, again, it's the survey points. We did the combine right there, combine like items. So it should put them in. I could have hit just update table too. Whoops, I got to select the right layout again. I could have just said update table and it would have went in there, but I kind of wanted to show you that. So two ways of doing it. A little quicker if we wanted to. I'll show you where that is in a second here. Next, and I should be able to just finish this. Yeah, we'll bump those, leave those bumped back up. Let me just check those custom descriptions. I don't know why they went away. That bothers me. Anyway, let me hit finish. And I'll drop it in below so you can see as a comparison. Okay. So some saved and some didn't. I don't get that. But here we can see, maybe I have a polyline. We can see it added that right there. Okay. Pretty easy. We'll come back to site plan 2. I'm not going to go through the whole justify thing again, but we'll just rerun Data Wizard. I don't see any hydrants in this. For whatever reason, maybe they're frozen. So I'm not even going to do it because I don't see them. So I'm not going to do it. Yeah, there should have been. Probably frozen in there again. You get the idea. So we talked about model space too. So you could do it in model space too. If you wanted to grab everything and do it in model space, now I've already made a template for it. So I'm just going to quick load the template and run it for you to show how, if you had a template already created, how quickly this can go. So I'm just going to go out and grab it. And it's this model space one right here, MS for model space. I've got these other ones with a bunch of junk in there that I think I pretty much showed you everything for them. So we'll bypass those. So after we load that, right away, it deselected this. It knows that from the template. I wouldn't have to hit refresh on the next page. It's going to jump up, but it's added a bunch of stuff here. I'm going to hit next. We can pop these open. And I saved it with these just to show you that it can reload how it was saved. So whatever you did before, it's gonna put it back to where it was. So I'm just gonna let it ride like that. Go to the next page. And then, so here is the beauty of saving that, is we needed to bump things up. And so all of these have changed now to reflect the model space scaling. So instead of one-to-one stuff, reading it, it's going to scale everything. Then if you put it in a viewport, it will size it accordingly as well. So I'm just going to say finish here, and I'm going to drop that in right there. And then we'll go back and we'll just do an export to Excel and just show you what we get right there. So there's our table. The sorting was bad. That needs to be fixed, but you saw how easy that is to do too, and save the template and they'll come in the right order again. So let's go back to Data Wizard and just it's the last thing I'm going to show you today. Oh, I wanted to note that the building, let me close that real quick, because this one has the hatches on for the building. Okay, it picks that up, puts it in this template, or this legend, sorry. Let's open Data Wizard again and just do a quick Excel, and that's all I'm going to show you. If you have any questions, feel free to post them. We'll get to them, otherwise we can chat in a few minutes here about it. So let's just roll through this and get to the final page. And you can do them both at the same time. You can do an Excel spreadsheet and you can do a template with one push. I'm going to deselect that right now. And it's already knows where it's going to go to this, because I pathed it and picked it, created that table already. If you didn't, you just open this guy up and give it a name right here. And once it's there, it's there. It's just so you don't overwrite it. But we're going to get another warning. So if I hit finish right here, so we get another warning that it exists, which would prompt you to go back if you want to give it another name. So here's what we get with it. Again, we could include the headers, we would get titles. We can do a lot of stuff here. We'll cover that in other webinars on Data Wizard. I just kind of wanted to show you what we're getting here in the table. Basically, what you see is what you get. So with that, that's all I really had to show you today. So Data Wizard, like we said, is part of the CTC Civil Project Suite. And we also have the SIM Management Suite up to version 23.6 right now. If you don't have it and you want to get it, you would contact your local reseller or go to our website, ctcsoftware.com. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us. I'm going to end the show right now. Again, thank you for those of you who stuck around these extra seconds. Bye.